Alright, so boom, walk.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
You good? Let me fix you real quick. You good? Alright, so boom, walk one, bro, bet. Welcome back to another installment of Edutainment. Today's topic.
Money is a very delicate issue for many, many people. This issue can be so contentious that instead of managing their money, people will avoid the topic altogether and solely focus on earning and spending it. In short, there are two types of people, those who increase their wealth and those who lose it. And in this video, I will share with you 10 money mistakes you must avoid at all costs. And if you're new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below for more life-changing content. The truth is that keeping money is a lot harder than making it. It's not uncommon to see people who come into wealth through inheritance, lottery, or other windfalls and lose it in a short amount of time. A good example of someone who earned a ridiculous amount of money but lost it all is the famous boxer Mike Tyson. Despite earning over $300 million in his career, in 2003 he declared bankruptcy and was reported to be in more than $20 million worth of debt. Needless to say that money mistakes happen, and these mistakes can cripple your finances no matter how much money you make. So
the thing about athletes, right, is that they have an exceptionally, or in general, entertainers, for the most part, they can have an exceptionally high period of high income, followed by very low periods of low income. And this is the pros and cons of being an entertainer, so to speak. You can make $1 million this year or $3 million this year. Next year you make nothing if you don't put out quality content, or your album goes double plastic as opposed to double platinum.
But that's stupid. We released our next album and it was like a flop. It was a tragedy. It went like double plastic.
I had spent most of my money, like all of it. I spent all my money.
And on top of that, most of these athletes typically also have baby mama drama. You know, they can't wrap up their Johnson. So let's say you're no longer making the same amount of money you were before, right? But you're also used to a certain lifestyle. Now you have maybe 2 or 3 baby mamas, or 2 or 3 children by different women. Now your housing tax your property tax is still high because you are in a mansion. It's like, let's say maybe perhaps $20,000 per month, but you're not making the same amount of money as you were before. But for most athletes, it'd serve them best to probably live off of their sponsorship money or their signing bonus, as opposed to the totality of their contract. And this is how this applies to you and me. Essentially, is always paying ourselves first. Always paying ourselves first. Whenever you get that $1,000 check, $1,000 deposit, okay, what percentage of this deposit can I put directly into my savings account? Is it 20%? Put $400 directly into a savings account, or maybe it's only 100. If it's only 100, sure. But paying yourself first sets the precedent to live below your means, because instead of operating with the $2,000, you are now operating with the maybe 1,800 or 1,600 instead.
get into the 10 mistakes that you must avoid. Number 1. Spending on drugs or cigarettes. Doing a drug or two in college may have been fun and seemed harmless in the moment, but the truth is that constant use can have negative effects on both your health and your wallet. If you calculate how much drug and cigarette users spend in a week or a year, you'll see that many of them are hamstringing their ability to reach financial freedom. For example, a pack of cigarettes costs $9.08, and many cigarette smokers smoke a pack a day. This amounts to $63.56 a week, or $3,305.12 a year. The same amount of money could cover the property taxes on your home or a 2-week vacation, but sadly many drug and cigarette users fall into this habit through curiosity and peer pressure. The end result of this habit is a hefty toll on both your health and your wealth in the long term. As such, try to avoid spending on these items as best you can. Number 2.
It's not just avoiding, sometimes you just can't not, because you're addicted to it, literally addicted to it.
My name's GuapDad4000. Currently, my life is spiraling out of control. I have no idea what I'm gonna do every day that I wake up because I'm so reckless. I openly disrespect others verbally, and I'm terrible at saving money. Also, I don't trust anybody. I don't even tell myself secrets. I think everybody is the police, and I'm drinking way too much Hennessy.
So honestly, arguably the best hack, if you are someone who maybe you smokes the ganja too much, or the cigarette too much, or even you are addicted to certain adult sites, cough, 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 cough. Did you get it? Okay, so if you're addicted to any of these major three things, right? Cigarettes, alcohol, even pornography, I just said it, marijuana, you want to incorporate exercise. Morning exercise into your life will make a drastic difference in your ability to adhere to long-term abstinence from your substance of choice.
So get this, by working out, by exercising, by having mild stress on the body, we are training the brain to become more resilient, which is exactly why we feel so good. Stress literally doesn't affect us as much because the BDNF has put this protective layer around the brain cells so they don't get affected as badly. It's truly remarkable, and it actually has effects that stick. So even when you're working out and you feel amazing and then you kind of come down from that workout high, you're still at a baseline that's higher than you were before. Each and every time you work out and you increase that BDNF, you are increasing your brain cells' resilience. So that little bit of stress that you put yourself through is doing amazing things in terms of getting you, well, high. So,
because what happens is you're no longer getting that high, that dopamine spike in the form of these substances. But now you still need that dopamine spike, but you can get it in the form of exercise. 5 to 10 minute workout session or even yoga session in the morning will get your body active and naturally tap into the body's ability to produce dopamine. You know, when you eat food or when you see food, your receptors get a little bit higher, right? Likewise, when you exercise and put stress on the body, your body is able to deal with stress in general in the world at a better pace because it is accustomed to a certain level of demand. Oftentimes, when people say they're stressed, they're actually not working out. I promise you, anybody that works out, if you could work out or even take cold showers, you can deal with any other stress in life. But if you struggle with marijuana, alcohol, or nicotine, links in the description for programs on how you can better deal with that without negative or nasty withdrawal symptoms.
Spending more than you make. This can be tempting to do, especially as a young adult. It can be tempting to blow your money right out of college when you are making a consistent income for the first time in your life. Buying that new car, moving into a new house, and flying first class are all appealing things to do, but the problem with them is that you tend to end up living paycheck to paycheck if your income can't cover these costs. This issue can be likened to lifestyle inflation, whereby an increase in earning will cause you to increase your living expenses. An increase in paycheck shouldn't warn you to increase your cost of living. However, the majority of people feel that they should reward themselves once they get paid. Instead, this cash inflow should be directed into prolonging your wealth through investments and the acquiring of assets. Probably the biggest reason that people spend beyond their means is to impress others. They spend because their self-esteem is low, and without these material goods, they feel inadequate in comparison to others. But this is flawed thinking. As Dave Ramsey says, we buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. Many of us are guilty of this. Once you learn to delay gratification and forget about impressing people, you will then be able to grow financially. Social media is another cause of overspending. People try to spend huge sums of money trying to look rich without actually being rich. An internet entrepreneur, for example, who, after being told he would never make it big in business, might buy an expensive car when he makes his first big sale in order to prove his critics wrong, again falling into the trap of trying to impress others. This means of impressing others is a never-ending staircase. At all points of life, there will be others to compete with or to show off to. You have no business buying a gadget worth $2,000 when your monthly salary is just $3,000. Be smart, create a budget, and track your spending to ensure you avoid spending more than you make. Number 3, not investing wisely.
Honestly, especially with this whole holiday Christmas time period, think about all these sales, right? All these 50% off, 70% off, 90% off. Is this something that you were saving up towards buying in the first place? If you were saving to buy it full price, right, and then they discounted it, you did indeed save 30%. But if you had no intention of buying that thing to begin with, you didn't save 30%. You spent 30% more than you normally would have.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. Think about it, think about it. If this thing was full price, would you have already wanted to buy it? Or were you already working towards buying it? And then if they discounted it, it makes sense to buy it because you already wanted to buy it. But if you had no intention of buying said thing, you didn't save money, you spent more money. You spent more money. You spent more money. That's tough. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Do better. Do better. I've been there. We've all been there, done that. But you buy this thing. What is it doing for you? What is it actually doing for you? Is it making you more money? Is it saving you more money in the long run, even though you buy it now? Or is it just a liability? It's just losing you money. And how long would it take you to make this money back? And is it worth 4, 5, 6 hours of your life if you make maybe $15 per hour.
Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions? Making statements. Asking all them questions.
Is it? Is it? Is it? Oh, another like little, it's not really a budget hack, but just me personally, when I check my bank account every other day or daily for the most part, I find myself being more cautious of my spending. But if I go like a whole week without checking my bank account, I promise you the spending for that week will be a little bit more hectic. Even though, you know, you budget, you try to plan accordingly, having a cautious eye of your bank account statements definitely makes you more conservative in your spending.
Investments can be really tricky, and many people put their money into things based on tips from friends or a strong conviction that the prices of popular stocks will keep going up. One type of asset that just about everyone seems keen on these days is real estate. Many people think that once they own an investment property that they'll be financially set. They think that every month rent payments will just start rolling in and their income will exponentially increase. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. Sometimes tenants miss payments, appliances break, or the value of your property declines. Like all types of investments, there is risk involved. For the wise investor, the key to making their assets produce a reliable stream of income is to obtain the proper knowledge about a particular market or product before putting their hard-earned money into said venture. In short, make sure to do proper background work on whatever it is you want to get into, and not just because your friends are making money from it or a sales agent told you about the great benefits it has to offer. Number 4, following get-rich-quick schemes. Get-rich-quick schemes are one of the surest ways of losing your money. As the saying goes, quick money brings quick problems, and following a money scheme is bound to get you in trouble. Get-rich-quick schemes include things like Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, and make money overnight offers, and are all set up to make the scheme originator rich by taking your hard-earned money. If you're looking into new business ventures and see opportunities that promise high returns with small risk, then tread with caution. Think of it like this. If it takes 20 years in a career to make $200,000, and a new venture is saying that you can make that amount of money in a year, then if it was legitimate, wouldn't everyone be doing it? In short, when it comes to making money fast, always employ your best judgment before signing on the dotted line. Number 5.
Like even with YouTube, if you want to be a YouTuber during this lockdown, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, self-isolation, you're looking at least a minimum of a year of investment of making videos, not getting a lot of views, like barely getting views, unless you are overly pretty, you know, or you have a friend that really has a lot of clout. No one's gonna find you. It's easy for a good-looking woman to get clout on Instagram because it's just pictures. But if it's on YouTube, for example, it's a bit more harder, right? It's just you actually have to know how to edit, post, make content, be entertaining. It's not just your looks. If you want to blow up off of your looks, go to IG. But you know, with IG, they don't pay you for your content. So honestly, when it comes to YouTube, you see all the YouTube ad revenue people show you and how much YouTube paid them. You're looking at least a year. People always say it. Some videos take 3 months, 6 months, or even a year to blow up. And your channel overall may not even get monetized for 2-3 years. But at the minimum, I say at least a 1 year of investment on YouTube to see a return on your efforts.
Having an emergency fund. Let's face it, life doesn't always go your way, and sometimes you need cash in order to rectify the situation you're in. For instance, your car could suddenly stop working, you could lose your job, or your washer could break. Unfortunately, just about everything in life costs money, which is why not having an emergency fund set aside is a critical money mistake. Sadly, a 2019 Federal Reserve study found that almost 40% of American adults wouldn't be able to cover a $400 emergency with cash, savings, or a credit card charge that they could pay off quickly. About 27% of those surveyed would need to borrow the money or sell something to come up with the $400, and an additional 12% wouldn't be able to cover it at all. Luckily, you don't have to be one of these people. Saving these funds can be easy. All you have to do is set up a 10% automatic deduction from your pay with your employer that will send a portion of your paycheck into an emergency savings account. But how do you know when you've saved enough? Most financial gurus recommend you accumulate 6 months worth of living expenses, but if you want to be extra cautious, then 1 year's worth is a great goal to set. This
is also beneficial in the event that you want to quit your job. Maybe you don't get fired, but you want to quit. Or you want to now have the energy or the time to focus completely on your side hustle. That means you have those 3 to 6 months of expenses covered. That means, let's say your rent is $1,000 per month. You have at least $6,000 plus maybe food. Maybe you have about $10,000 saved up in your savings account that will last you for 6 months. And now you can focus on your YouTube channel, making that pop off, or pick up a side job, a part-time job that's not as demanding, that now gives you the ability to still put in more effort on your actual passion, right? This is how you gradually get yourself out of that 9-to-5 hustle, if you so choose to, because not everybody hates their job. Don't believe all these make money online courses. It's not that easy. It's not that easy.
6. Having just one source of income. For most people, having a sole source of income is a way of life, and this income usually comes in the form of a salary. Unfortunately, jobs aren't as secure as people perceive them to be. In fact, in 2018 alone, US businesses laid off more than 21 million people, meaning that if your job was the only way you made money, then all of a sudden your cash inflow came to a halt. When it comes to income sources, you need to think of yourself as a tree. Do trees grow fruit only from one branch? The simple answer is no. They have different branches producing flowers and fruits. And so should you. You should keep developing and learning new ways to let your income work for you. This is not only wise, but it's
arguably the best way to create that additional source of income is to utilize your main job as content, or your life as content. If you're a flight attendant, talk about your experience as a flight attendant at your airline. If you're a plumber, talk about your plumbing or how you fix things. If you are a computer scientist, talk about your income. Talk about the pros and cons of that field of study. Hairstylist, talk about the pros and cons, or how much money you make as a hairstylist per month, per week, etc., etc. Or the qualifications that are needed to get into that industry, right? So use your life as content. When you buy stuff from Amazon, make a product review about it and leave an Amazon link in your description by becoming an Amazon affiliate. But anything you buy, anything you've experienced in your life that's helped you, put it on YouTube.
Safe way to help you sleep at night. Number 7, relying heavily on credit cards. For many people, credit cards can be a convenient tool for making purchases, but for others, they can be a one-way ticket to debt. Although you need credit cards for some business applications, relying on them heavily can ruin you financially. The use of credit cards promotes impulse buying. It gives you the mentality that you can afford anything and everything, all with an easy swipe. In fact, a 2001 MIT study found that shoppers spend up to 100% more when using their credit card to pay instead of cash. So if you find yourself uncontrollably spending on credit, form the habit of paying with cash instead. When you pay by cash, you are physically handing over money, and seeing the depletion in your wallet will make you feel the financial impact of the purchase much more than when you pay on credit. Number 8, being scared to take financial risks. As the saying goes, no risk, no reward. And in order to make money, you need to take risks. However, the risks you take...
When it comes to credit cards, you want to avoid using more than 30% of your credit card limit. And if you are currently in credit card debt, the bank doesn't want you to know this, but you can actually settle with your bank. Why would your bank want to settle with you? They'd rather take a payment from you than allow the debt to get sent into collections and take a loss, right? So banks make you feel like, oh, if I don't pay the minimum balance, maybe you say you are in $10,000 of credit card debt, and you see that the minimum balance is not really affecting your the debts because of the high interest, right? So ideally, I'd recommend you make that one minimum balance payment that one time, and then instead of continuing to pay that balance, you now save up money at a separate bank account in order to accumulate the necessary amounts to give to your bank as a settlement offer. So if you have a $10,000 credit card debt, you can probably sell with your bank for 40 or 50% of that, so like maybe $5,000. And this is arguably by the 5th month of your debt, because after 180 days of, is it 180 days? 6 times 30. After 180 days of a payment delinquency, your bank writes your debt off as loss. But as you'll know, whenever you are late on your payments, they'll call you, low-key harass you a little bit to ask you like, what's going on? Are you gonna make the payment? The camera cut out. But essentially what I'm saying is you don't have to continue to pay massive amount in interest costs in order to get out of debt. You can get out of debt via debt settlement approach. I have a whole video on a whole masterclass, like a free masterclass essentially, on how to do it. Links in the description and pinned comment of this video.
Need to be calculated. For instance, putting your money in an index fund is higher risk than leaving your money in a savings account, but your money will never grow making the typical 0.09% interest that a savings account yields. Instead, investing in an index fund, for example, which mirrors the movements of the whole stock market, has historically provided returns of 7% annually, which is a calculated risk that, in my opinion, is worth taking. Number 9, saving rather than investing. When you keep money in the bank, it loses value over time due to inflation. However, when money is invested wisely, it grows. It's that simple. In mistake number 9, I mentioned that being scared to take financial risks is a mistake. The people who are scared to take risks are people who will save all their money.
I feel like once you have that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses or even a year of covered, at that point, definitely begin your investment journey and understanding that aspect of your life. But save first, have your little 6-month emergency fund covered, and then dabble into the investment aspect.
And leave it to erode over time. The only money you should be leaving in a savings account is money for your living expenses and your cash emergency fund. In short, you have to save to invest, and not save for the sake of saving. Money saved without any actual plan will end up being spent on things that are not worthwhile. For instance, when you leave money in your bank, you will become tempted to spend it on material goods like a new car, new clothes, or entertainment. Instead, you should be getting that money to work for you by investing it. Whether that's in the form of stocks, real estate, REITs, or startups, all these avenues offer a way to make new streams of income, which is much more financially lucrative than letting your money devalue when sitting in the bank. Number 10, having only one bank account. Having only one bank account is risky for a few reasons. First, having one bank account will make the management of your money really difficult. By working with just one bank account, you have to keep all of your emergency, bill, and college savings in one spot. Then, if you splurge and spend this cash, you may risk not having emergency cash or tuition money readily available when you need it. This is why you should have at least 3 bank accounts. One should be used for emergency funds in case anything goes wrong. Another account can be for your day-to-day bills, and a final account, which I call a play account. Your play account is what money you allocate for entertainment or vacation. And if you want to take things one step further, you should set up an untouchable account. This account can be used as a savings account that paycheck deductions are directed to every single month, so you can automate your savings process and ensure your wealth.
And definitely if you are self-employed, you have employment income coming in, I have another account for a tax account where you can keep track of your taxes you are owing the Uncle Sam, IRS, or CRA, wherever you're at. But hopefully that gives you some insight. Again, if you are someone who's in credit card debt, arguably the biggest debt people will incur is, apart from student loans, because the high interest isn't that high, is credit card debt. You want to get out of credit card debt ASAP, no Rocky. Check out that video, the whole idea of debt consolidation and credit card debt settlement. Or if you are someone who struggles with marijuana addiction, you find yourself spending too much time, money, and energy, here's how you deal with the withdrawal symptoms and detox appropriately. Alright, doesn't feed you, don't water it, and too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How are you doing today? Say it with me. I'm doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. No cap. Flip the script. I'm out.
I'ma get my meal. Baby, while I shop, you need family. Is it not true that I do this for the way you do the thing for me?